up in the first few innings.
2-2 is ripped to right field down the line. Fair or foul? It is a home run! It got out onto the flag court just by the foul pole. Gregg Zaun stays hot. The Orioles get on the board.
Yeah, it got around that foul pole pretty quickly. Well, Johnny at 38, not known for his home run power. I mean, he pulverized this 2-2 fastball. And you could see down the middle. Boy, does it get out of here in a hurry.
Franchise. Runners take off. And Zaun's throw to third is in time. And they get the runner at third base. Boy, a huge break for the Brewers as Johnson is cut down at third base.
Did not get a very good jump off the bag. And Gregg Zaun, it looked as though Zaun didn't have a handle on the baseball initially right here. Took him a while to get rid of it. Not a very good jump, but a perfect throw. Right on the bag to get him. Boy, running into outs with your home run hitter up, that is a no-no right there.
Gregg Zaun, how's it going, my friend?
Doing great, buddy. How are you?
You know what, man? I couldn't be more blessed than having you back on the Booni Believer show, and it's wonderful for you to take the time out of the schedule to come on the podcast. How are things, brother?
Things are good. Things are good. I'm enjoying life in Kelowna now.
You're in Kelowna, so you're in Canada, not too far from Jobu, not too far, a couple-hour flight.
Yeah, not too far. We're out here in Kelowna. I'm coaching a summer ball program and living here full-time now.
Good for you. You're living the life, living the dream. Well, look, your LA Dodgers are back-to-back champions. Maybe it'll be the first time in history to be a three-repeat. You never know. You look at Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, the whole team is just loaded full of players. My question to you, Greg, is the Dodgers don't just win. They reload. What makes their player development system so much better than average MLB organizations?
Well, the thing that they have going for them is they're, one of the most storied franchises in the world. They go from Brooklyn out to LA, reestablish themselves. Everybody crying the blues about how, they bought the World Series, but you can't really buy a World Series until you build the ability to buy it. They scout well, they develop well, and obviously with the money that they generate through, the fan base, they own the parking lot that they are surrounded by, so they get all the money there. They have great TV rights. So they generate a ton of money. They've been smart in understanding that players like Shohei Ohtani, coming from the Japanese market, which is huge in Asia, they are monsters. They have the money, they have the wherewithal to reload every single year, and that's the thing. I mean, it's amazing that the people don't understand what the formula is. I mean, it's the same way as the Yankees and Boston did it when I was playing. It's all through scouting, player development. Because when you're drafting at the bottom of the first round, you're not going to get the premier player that you think everybody would get, because you're drafting at the bottom. You're still going to get good players, but you're not getting the best player. So when you look at what the Yankees did, sending guys like Dustin Pedroia to the big leagues, rookies of the year, MVPs, just incredible scouting and player development. The teams that don't scout well, that don't develop well, they're left with only one option, and that is to go buy players. Well, that gets to be an expensive proposition. So if you're not going to develop from within, then you better have a very deep pockets. But it's funny how the teams with the deepest pockets also scout and develop very well. And so that's one of the biggest reasons why you see those guys on top of the heap year over year. I mean, the best teams are the best teams for a reason.
They keep reloading. They keep winning championships. And, the Dodgers, it took them a while to win a championship. And, if you look at it right now, realistically, who's the true engine on that team during that World Series run against the Blue Jays?
Well, the engine, gosh, it's hard to say. It really is. I mean, it could have been a number of guys. And that's the thing. That's a true testament to a good ball club. I mean, you're going to get contributions up and down. You shut one down, the other one steps up, and that was the reason why the Jays ended up short, because they just were going to be tested at every at bat, every inning, every guy that came out of their bullpen, whether they beat him or they didn't, was presenting a severe challenge. And if you're challenged and you're under pressure for that long, you're going to crack. I mean, if you put constant pressure on somebody, something, it's gonna break down. And that's why you see the teams with the deepest rosters. That's why they win, because they can just are able to exert so much pressure on the opposing roster that if they don't measure up, they're going to get beat. And you'll see individual games and individual performances and be like, oh yeah, we've got a chance. Well, no, you don't, because you look at what happened with the Jays. They broke down. They went from a team that did A, B, and C really well to worn out and out of gas, because the Dodgers, in my opinion, played poorly the entire World Series, and yet they still outlasted the Jays. They were that good.
That's what shocked me. The Blue Jays had everything on the table, and a lot of people, I talked to, the months and the World Series, and people in Toronto just can't believe. They always said to me, this game was scripted, Game 7. They should have won in 6. And I always say, ladies and gentlemen, it's not scripted. The better team came up with the answer. You look at the Dodgers for a sec. They have the experience. They had a chance to get Shohei Ohtani. But you know what? They didn't have the money. The Dodgers had the money. The Yankees could afford them. But the Blue Jays, the one thing that is the biggest concern is they don't go out and find depth players. They go out and find like a George Springer. They'll sign for a 5-year contract for $150 million, and they'll rely on him for the rest of those 5 seasons, like a Josh Donaldson. They've had some incredible players over the years, but at the end, they always find a way to screw these players.
Oh yeah, well, it's going to happen. I mean, look, the Blue Jays are a great organization. They've done a great job, coming back to prominence. Problem being is, you look, they got real creative with Vladdy's contract.
Yeah,
awesome. So hopefully they'll be able to get real creative with Bo. In my opinion, not the guy they want to sign anyways. He's a one-dimensional player. Like he's literally a one knee injury away from being a DH. He doesn't play defense. He doesn't hit for enough power to be a DH in that league, in my opinion. And especially with the ballpark being a bandbox. The ball flies out of Rogers Center. So it's not like it's a tough place to hit homers, and he still didn't end up with 20. Guy swings at everything. He's a good bat-to-ball guy. He's a key player, but he's not a starting shortstop on a championship team, in my opinion. The guy doesn't play good enough defense. You saw the difference in the defense by Jimenez when he got a chance to do that. I think, in my opinion, I don't think Bo cares much about his defense. He clearly spends a ton of time hitting, and that's fine. But for me, that's not who you give a 10-year contract to. Like you look at the improvement. I mean, we got Vladdy at first base is a Gold Glover now. When he first got to the big leagues, I had my doubts about his ability to play defense and whether or not he'd stay fit enough to stay in the league. But he proved me wrong. The guy went out there and he put in the work. He dedicated himself to his craft, and he stayed fit. He runs the bases well. He plays defense well. He's a leader on the field. That's the kind of guy you get 10 years to. That's the kind of guy you get creative with. They figured out a way to do an LA Dodgers without deferring money. They did a bonus structure that helped him save money because, let's be honest, the taxation in Ontario is oppressive.
Oh,
And
come,
one of the main
to
reasons,
Ontario now.
one of the main reasons,
Yeah.
one of the main reasons, it's a dumpster fire right now.
Yeah, I agree.
One of the main, we don't even talk politics. But,
no, but I agree. You couldn't have
the
agreed
bottom
more.
line is that you're never going to get top tier blue chip free agents to play in Toronto unless they come from within your organization, like Vladdy Jr., or you overpay for them. That's it. Nobody wants to go there. It's sad because it used to be such a wonderful place, and I mean the city. Used to be a great place to live. I was there for 10 years. I loved it. But, political climates change. The crime, the lack of policing, et cetera, the liberal policies, et cetera. I said I wasn't going to talk politics.
No, it's okay. Absolutely, you have open minded, my friend. This is a show.
But at the end of the day, the taxation is one of the and the fact that it's a foreign country is one of the main reasons why the Jays are always going to have to do a better job of developing from within. They have to build a core of players that they're going to be able to have control over for a good 6 years until they become free agents. Hopefully you get them signed to long-term deals and buy out a couple years of free agency and figure out creative ways to avoid the taxation like they've done with Vladdy's contract.
Well, the only core that we saw, and you were Blue Jay Central, you were commenting, it was Jose Bautista, Joey Bats, Edwin Encarnacion, and Josh Donaldson, and I can't remember the last one, but that was the last core that you see. I think the Blue Jays in 2016 was the best Toronto Blue Jays that we've seen since 1992, 1993. I know you played for the Blue Jays in 2005, 2006. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Blue Jays have what it takes to win a championship. But again, when everybody said they're going to bring in Shohei Ohtani, I thought that was baloney. I thought that was BS. It was never going to happen. I knew for a fact he's going to go to New York or go to LA. He's not going to anybody else but those two big cities. And he took the better. And he's not only a great player, he's a great pitcher, and he's a two-time World Series. And I really think that the LA Dodgers can do it again. They can go into LA, they can go and they can have a phenomenal season and win it again. Like, whoever thought they're going to sweep the Brewers, I thought the Brewers are going to give their money's worth. They got swept 4-0. Like, that was crazy. Like, I thought, okay, they swept the Brewers. They're beating every single team in the Major League Baseball.
I'll go back and kind of unpack what you said little by little. Bautista, not originally a Blue Jay. Donaldson, not originally a Blue Jay. Encarnacion, not originally a Blue Jay. In fact, all three guys, nobody wanted. They gave them away.
Who was that final person?
The Blue Jays.
Who was that
the
final?
Blue Jays gave up nothing for either one of those. All three of those guys gave up nothing for them.
I thought Donaldson had something. They brought in Donaldson for someone.
But they didn't give up anything major. They sure as heck. It wasn't a tit for tat. It wasn't all-star MVP caliber player like they got in Donaldson, home run leader like Jose Bautista. I was there as a player in Jose Bautista's first year as a Blue Jay. That was my last year in Toronto, which was 2008. And he had a little bit of power. He had not learned how to hit yet. The Pirates threw him away. They didn't care. The Reds threw away Encarnacion because he had swing and miss problems. He had attitude issues. But he came to Toronto and figured it all out. Those guys came from outside. The Blue Jays got extremely lucky with those three guys. They caught lightning in a bottle, not once, not twice, but 3 times. It happens here and there, but never like it did for Toronto. You don't get 3 guys like that, 3 relative unknown guys for nothing.
So you think
they turned into MVP players?
You think Vladdy is a franchise player for Toronto?
100%. He's 100% the franchise player for Toronto, and he deserves to be the highest paid guy on the team. But you look at what went down. Everybody's like, Ernie, or what's his name? The middle infielder kid that had the I'm drawing a blank right now. The middle infielder utility guy that had all the hits in the World Series or the postseason. Clement.
Yeah.
He goes. Everybody's like, well, he had the most hits in postseason history. Yeah, but he went 0 for 2 with a chance to win the World Series. 0 for 2. It doesn't matter. But see, that's what happens when you go up there and you just hack him. You don't have an approach. His at bat in Game 6 was one of the worst at bats with a chance to win it all I've ever seen. He swung at a ball, off the plate in, somewhere between his chest and his belt. It wasn't even close to being a strike. He went up there with, I'm going to swing no matter what he throws up here in mind. Same way in Game 7. That ball that the two outfielders collided on in the outfield, it didn't even make the warning track. They did. The defenders
they
did.
said that ball was stuck on the wall, and that should have been 2 runs that went in, and there was so much speculation. That was all baloney, right?
It's all that's crybaby stuff. It's the same way. You go back to the Texas Rangers series with the infamous freaking bat flip game. Everybody, all the Blue Jays fans were crying about the fact that they thought the world was against them, and yet the umpires got both controversial calls 100% correct, and they got this one correct. The ball is lodged in the fence. The center fielder for the Dodgers did exactly what he was supposed to do, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Bottom line is, they had chances to win the games. Yeah. Separate from that play. Don't focus on one play.
Well, that's what they do. That's what they do.
Garbage at bats by Varsho and Clements and the pitching mistakes that they made, hanging sliders to a guy to the infielder for the Dodgers. Again, I'm drawing a blank. Here's a guy that hadn't had a hit since September, and all of a sudden you're giving the guy the one pitch that he has a chance to pull. He had no chance to hit a home run to opposite field. None. In fact, he probably had no chance to get an extra base hit to the opposite field, and you throw him the one pitch that gives him the opportunity to get the barrel out front and pull the ball. That's a garbage selection. It's bad pitch calling. It's non-professional at-bats when they mattered most, and that's what happens when you get worn down physically and mentally by a superior baseball team.
Yeah. And they always talk about those two plays. That's all they talk about. The media, all I hear on MLB or Blue Jay Central, they talk about those two plays, how the Blue Jays got screwed. And I can't stand when I like go broadcast and people say to me, the Jays got robbed. And I look at them, I just don't even want to start a conversation. I don't want to argue with them because they know nothing about baseball. Okay, what he did was absolutely perfect. The LA Dodgers outfield, that was professional. He did a great job. And the Dodgers were the ones that played better. The Jays had opportunities to win Game 5, Game 6, Game 7. So many games they should have won. They could have even swept the Dodgers if you really want to think about it. But you know what? It was the Dodgers that did the deal. And look, they're championships, and I think they're going to win it again. Now, let's be honest. How far are the Blue Jays from competing teams like the Dodgers?
I don't know. I know they made a huge step getting Dylan Cease. That guy's a stud.
Yeah,
that's a huge sign. That might be the. When you combine where the Jays are and how good they are and how close to being a championship caliber team they are, adding a guy with stuff like Dylan Cease, that's a coup. That's an absolute coup in my opinion. That's a huge move. And you know what? I love that move for the front office by the Blue Jays because I know those guys were on life support when the season started. If they don't make the postseason, they're probably gone, all of them. But they go to the World Series and they pretty much just saved their lives, saved their careers in Toronto by going to the postseason. And now they go out and they get a guy like Dylan Cease. Now he's a Nathan Eovaldi kind of guy. Some of the American League East fans will know that name. Here's a guy with a heck of a lot of great stuff and a lot of promise, but he has trouble staying healthy. If they can keep Dylan Cease healthy, that rotation is probably the best in the American League. They'll probably win the pennant again. Yeah. You might see a repeat of Dodgers Blue Jays in next year's World Series.
That'd be nice. See what the Yankees are going to do too. Good. The Yankees, they need some help too, man. They got a great team.
I'm not even looking at those guys. Those guys, they live and die by the homer, and if they can't manufacture runs, they're not a small ball kind of team. So they're going to live and die by the homer, and if they don't get good pitching, they're going to be very beatable again.
Well, the Booni believers have a question to ask you. From your catches point of view, what stood out to you the most about each team managing their pitching staff under pressure?
I mean, look, I don't think Hoffman's a closer. I think he proved that he wasn't a closer in big games down the stretch. I mean, I've seen guys who were not big game pitchers get 30 saves in a season. I don't think he's a closer. I don't think that. I think that they went with him in those situations because they had to, because they didn't have anybody else to do it. I thought everybody managed the bullpens okay. I think both teams were in too big a hurry to get to the bullpen. I didn't think they managed Max Scherzer all that well in the postseason, especially leaving him off the first round roster. Look, I've got my differences with the way they do things. I look at starting pitching, like elite starting pitching, as the thoroughbreds of the pitching industry, and the quarter horses are the relievers. And we always have to remember that relief pitchers are failed starters. They're failed starters. They weren't good enough to get around the lineup 3 times. They're not good enough, or they don't have the stamina or the stuff or the repertoire to get around the lineup 3 times. So these guys are one-trick ponies. And if you really study the game the way you should study the game, you can figure out what you're going to get almost every pitch in every situation from these relief pitchers. Most of them don't have great fastball command. Hoffman proved that. If he doesn't throw his slider exactly where he wants to, he's a gong show. Like, the kid can't. His biggest thing is he needs to learn how to get people out with his fastball. He's got a good fastball, but he doesn't know where it's going. He likes to spin it. And so when you're relying on spin is a field pitch. If you lose your feel, you lose your confidence. And then all of a sudden, everything becomes unraveled, as you saw. Yeah. These guys need to learn how to do more than throw one pitch but when you're coming out of the bullpen, you can go, balls to the wall as hard as you want, throw one pitch, get people out, and it's your manager's job to match you up against the guys that you're going to have success against. Plain and simple. But they need to remember that these guys that are the starting pitchers that are making $30 million a year, they need to pitch more than 80 pitches, 90 pitches in a ball game. These guys need to carry you into the 7th. Major League Baseball, as in general, needs to redefine what their definition of a quality start is. It's not a 4.5 ERA.
Well, you brought up Max Scherzer. And I thought they really mistreated him in the World Series. He has the most experienced time in the World Series. And there's speculation going on that the Blue Jays are trying to bring him back for a 1-year contract. Do you think the Jays will bring him back?
Why wouldn't they? I mean, if he's healthy enough to pitch, even if he's your number 5, still pretty damn good. You got a first ballot Hall of Famer in your 5 slot. That's pretty good. And honestly, Max he's got a different gear. He has a different gear when he needs it, and I think you're going to get a lot of mileage out of that guy still. You got Gosman, you got Bieber, you literally got, I don't know, 3 Cy Youngs in that rotation.
I like Bieber. Bieber's awesome. He's incredible.
Yeah, but even he made a mistake. He made the mistake with the hanging the breaking ball.
Yeah.
Fastball away still the best pitch in baseball, down and away. Yeah. And he made a mistake. He hung a slider in a situation where you can't give up extra base hits. These guys need to stop being scared to pitch with their fastball. Max ain't scared. He throws it right down the middle first pitch. I love it.
Man, Blue Jay Central's really missing you. I'm telling you, I miss every freaking word that I used to say on television. Everything I used to, as a kid that I used to remember, I'm hearing it right now here live on Joe's Sports Channel. Now, you played on several teams throughout your career, including the Baltimore Orioles, Florida Marlins, Kansas City Royals, Houston Astros, Colorado Rockies, Blue Jays, Rays, and Brewers. You were drafted in 1989. You made a debut in 1995. You won a World Series with the Florida Marlins, 1997. What was your best team that you had the best experience playing with?
Well, it's hard not to say the 97 Marlins. But, I mean, I had different great experiences. I learned a lot from the veterans and Jim Leland when I was with the Marlins. If I hadn't been a part of that, win or lose the World Series, I would have never survived as long as I did in the game. And the funnest team that I was ever on was the 2000 Kansas City Royals. We had a great time. We were thick as thieves. We hung out together off the field. We had a really good offensive ball club. Did not have any pitching. We could have been a lot better if we had an ownership group with deeper pockets that were willing to invest in the ball club. But, the Glass family didn't want to spend any money on pitching. And so we had to develop our offense from within. You had guys, like Jermaine Dye, who come from the Braves, Joe Randa, Carlos Beltran, a baby Carlos Beltran. There's a lot that could have been done there. That was a fun team. But my best time was the Blue Jays. My time with the Blue Jays was great for me because I got another shot to play. I got my real first shot at playing every day, and I earned it. I kept earning it. In my opinion, I wasn't treated as well as I thought it should have been treated. But at the end of the day, they were trying to do what was best for the ball club, which was put as many good players on the roster as possible. But nonetheless, I had 5 amazing years in Toronto as a player, and it set me up for broadcasting life after the game. So I really can't say that I could argue with the best time of my career was in Toronto.
Yeah, I remember that grand slam you had too. I think it was a 1 out or 2 outs back in. We're talking. I was like 8 or 9 years old, and you had the time of your life hitting and running around those bases at the Bryant Center. Man,
Yeah.
it's crazy to say. I was watching your videos the other day, and I was just thinking in the moment when you signed my poster, who has the better suit, Don Cherry or Gregg Zaun, and then you put an arrow at this guy, Gregg Zaun. It's just everything has its moment, and for you to take the time to come on the Joe Sports Channel, just to even speak to you, text messages, talking to you, I think you are an incredible individual, a great man, and you've been mistreated in a lot of places. And we have more respect for you than ever before. And I hope that I see you one day back on television or maybe even YouTube, because I acknowledge everything that you do. I support everything you do, and the past is the past, and everybody makes mistakes in life, but everybody needs to move forward too. You can never look behind. If you look behind, you're far from gone. And Greg, just keep doing what you're doing, man. You're out in BC, you're having the time of your life with your daughter. Live the dream. Don't think about the past, man. You're an incredible man. Don't ever forget about that.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I've moved on. If the world doesn't want to forgive me, they don't want to forgive me. I made my apologies. I owned my behavior and my past transgressions. Doesn't seem to be a whole lot of forgiveness for somebody that looks like me. So we'll just move on. And I'm surrounded by people that love me and people who support me and care about me. So this is a good place for me.
Absolutely. When are you going to open your own podcast so I can come on, or we can have, great Major League Baseball former players that go on? Are you doing any podcasts anytime soon?
I haven't done one in a while. I am thinking about it. There's a few media platforms out here that are looking to kind of get me going again. We'll see how that pans out. We could see something as soon as January or February, believe it or not.
Okay, I have some great sponsors that maybe could even sponsor you here out of London, out of Toronto's. I do the commenting for the London Nationals Junior B, so I'll put a word out there that you're going to be opening your own podcast. You're back out there, and I'm sure a lot of people would be interested in listening to you, because a lot of people were really excited for you to come back on my show. They really appreciate that you're back on the Joe Booni Show.
Well, that's amazing. We'll see. Let's keep our fingers crossed and see if anybody wants to listen to my opinion anymore.
Hey, I'll listen to your opinion any day. Like Don Cherry said, you people.
Yeah, well, I don't understand that one either, but I can tell you from firsthand knowledge that was a well-orchestrated, planned assassination of character by you-know-who. They were dying to get rid of that guy, and it's sad because he put a lot of people on the map, and a lot of people owe him, including me. He was a great mentor to me, and I'll always be thankful for the time that he took with me and the care that he took with me and guiding me in the early parts of my broadcasting career.
Sure. Did you ever talk to him at all? How is he doing?
I haven't talked to him in a couple of years. I reached out to his son, Tim, not too long ago, just to check in and, express my care and my concern. But yeah, he's living his life, he's doing his thing, and he deserves his privacy. He knows where to find me if he wants to talk to me, or if he wants to get into a suit off again. We could meet up maybe next Canada Day. Maybe I'll bring him out to Kelowna.
It's funny. I spoke to his son on LinkedIn to try to get him on the Joe Sports channel. He said he doesn't go on people's podcasts. He just does his own little thing, and he's kind of just stepping back. He's getting old. I think he's in his 90s now, so he's not what he used to be, and that took a big toll on him. It really did. Like he stood up for a lot of people.
Dude,
it was crazy. I still can't believe
it takes its toll. I mean, I barely survived it. Trust me, it's had its effects on my personal life, my professional life. These people out there that seem to forget that we're all human beings and that there's two sides, if not three sides, to every story. They seem to have the attention of the world for a while, and they don't realize that these are lives that they're affecting.
Yeah, not everything you see or hear is true too, and people right away think, "Oh, that's the truth. This person did that, or this person said that," and they always accuse the individual, especially men, right? Just what I'm saying, but it's sad. I do want to ask you before we hang up. Do you have any Gregg Zaun jerseys? Because I've been looking all over social media. I can't find any. Do you have anything spare?
I don't. I've got a whole storage locker full of stuff. I don't know what's what. I don't own anything other than a ski chalet, and I'm not hanging my memorabilia up there. I'll be able to dig it up. I just know that if you wanted to get one made, you'd have to get something signed by me. So if you want to go to the Blue Jays game and get the business card of somebody, and they'll send me a form and I'll sign it for you. You can get a Zaun jersey made. I'll sign that for you if you want to. Okay. It's not that hard. And besides, I'm still besties with Jamie Campbell. He's in the stadium every home game, so that's easy. I can get one made, or you can go get one made, and we'll figure it out.
I'll get one made and I'll send it to you. And I would love for you to sign it, and I'll keep that for the rest of my life.
Well, if you get the paperwork signed, I think it's a J shop. You go there.
Okay.
I'll just give them. You got my phone number. Have them call me on the telephone, and I'll sign the paper for you. You can get it made. I don't.
Okay, not a problem.
Doesn't bother me, man.
I will.
All right.
I will do that. Do you have anything else, my friend?
I got nothing. I just be on the lookout. We might be announcing a podcast, radio show, but certainly, and then if that happens, certainly we'll be looking for strong, national sponsors for that. But I think we'll have it covered. I got 3 different pretty good sized platforms vying for my attention. So hopefully it'll happen sooner than later, and we can get back out there. I love talking about baseball, and obviously I still keep track of it all. So you be well, and thanks for having me on again.
Not a problem, man. Anything you need, man, I'll help. I'll try to help out, brother.
Cheers, bud.
Take care, my friend. God bless.
Again. Bottom of the Come on, Zoni.
About that.